Hello, my name's Axel, and this time I'm with Sandra Gasparini. And Sandra, the floor is yours. Tell me your story and who are you?
Maybe you've seen it that I have become a mom like 3 months ago. Elliana is now almost 3 months, and yeah, I'm a mom. But not just that. I just say it as first thing because yeah, I think I will be a mom for the whole life, for my entire life, and I will put a lot of work and passion in there. Second thing, I would say I'm a believer. I believe in positivity. I believe that we are surrounded by a lot of energies, that they are influencing us, and we can also influence the energies with our thinking. Um, I believe in kindness, and I believe that in every person, no matter how bad this person is, there's a good part in his deepest heart. And for the last thing, I think, and I just got the proof a couple of weeks ago again, I'm still an athlete. In my deepest heart, I feel the passion of being an athlete. Yeah.
Tell me, what's your furthest away memory? How far you can remember, and how can you describe yourself as a kid? How far you can remember, and how can you describe yourself?
I can remember that I always enjoyed being with myself. It sounds very weird because it's usually kids like to be with other kids, but I always enjoyed playing with myself, and I figured it out very early that I like measuring myself with other kids. Yeah.
Like seeing, like, as a competitive spirit, you mean, like, or how do you mean that?
Yeah, exactly. Like running faster and being better in like always doing physical activities, never doing like drawing or something like that. But it started very early that I wanted to be always faster and the best one. And yeah.
You mentioned faster, right? Several times already. It's speed. How did you got to your sport, luge, and then, well, is that the main factor of why did you got into it? It was the speed factor of getting the fast speed,
No, I
because it's
think
like one of the fastest sports, right?
no. The place where I lived when I was like very small, it was actually between a natural loose track, but people went there just to have some fun. It wasn't a competitive loose track or something. And my dad, he competed already on the natural track, not on the artificial track. And I started to competing when like yeah, I competed in the first races when I was 3 years old. And yeah, I guess it was my dad's fault, and my grandpa was a bobsledder, so I think it was already a bit in my genes to 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 choose this sport and go into it. Yeah.
Can you talk about the feelings in that sport? Is it scary at points? Is it exciting? Some say maybe it's like like a real life roller coaster without any safety bars. Tell me about the feeling, how it is.
Yeah, it's pretty fast. It's really fast. But sometimes, like I lost many times the feeling how fast it is, because if you have the right line and you get the corners right in and out, you don't really feel that speed that much. But when you get in trouble, that time you feel really how fast it is. And what you don't see in the television, the pressure in the corners, that is very impressive how you can play and use the pressure in the corners, because you can make more speed when you turn the sled in the right pressure point. And yeah, you can play with this, and it's very interesting once you get over this, like that you don't have too much respect to start playing with the pressure, then it's getting really interesting and cool. Yeah.
So would you say then when you lose the control, you can lose this, like the speed is uncontrollable, and then you like see things flashing over, but when you are in control, everything goes under the control, right?
Exactly. It's when you lose a bit the control, or that you get corners too early, too late. It's very important in luge that you get always the right entrances in the corners. Then you feel that you're really fast. Like I was sometimes, oh damn, I'm so fast. And when I just had good runs, I didn't realize how fast I was. Like you don't feel that you're going like 130 kilometers per hour.
Right.
Like when I'm driving now with the car, I'm like, oh my God, I went faster with the luge. So it's, yeah, you lose the, see the difference when you go with the car or with the luge. Like it seems.
I want to ask you about a technical aspect, right? Like every time you go to a new track, for example, you had to go through the track and meet the track and see which corners are like, you know, how they are and so on. Tell me about, like, was it like, for me, I imagine this, that I would actually, if I go down, I would like to stop there and like take the corner over and over to like perfect it, but like it's not possible, right? In that sport, that's how I would imagine, you know, like in a video game setting, with that you could like go, oh, let's try this corner again, let's try this corner again, but like
That would
how
be
actually
amazing.
was it, like all the preparation of it? Tell me about that.
Like we have always walkings on the track, where we walk on the track
Right.
and you stand in the corner and you look at the entrance, at the exit, you see the pressure points and everything. And not just luges, a lot of athletes are doing it, but maybe you have seen it, that before they go in the competition, they imagine every corner, and like you're really studying the track and you know meter by meter what you have to do. But unfortunately you cannot press pause and go back and start again. But what we also do when we come on a new track, and we don't start right away from the top, we have like some stop points in the track, and then slowly you move up.
I want to ask you one more thing about technicality aspect of that sport. Lately, one of my sort of say hobbies has been to understand the perfect tractions of Formula One tracks. I don't know why. I will never ride a Formula One car in a real race, but like for something, I like that sport. I like that speed, and I try to understand how can you understand like which trajectory is the best. And I think that's a similar topic in your sport, right? Can you tell me, how do you understand, and what's the thought process throughout? Like, how do you understand that, okay, this corner should go, like, actually go this far up or this far down, and then so on? How do you understand that? What are the principles through that?
I like for luge, it is, you have to find the pressure point where the corner is the like the tightest. There you have a lot of pressure. And then of course what corners are coming after this curve. Like if you have a straight track afterwards, then you can go out with more speed, and it probably doesn't matter if you go out in the middle of the track, right or left. But if you have right after another corner, then you have to know where you exit the corner, that you have the perfect entrance in the next corner. And I think it's very similar with the car race. Yeah.
You said your father was involved in that sport and your grandfather was in bobsled as well. Sometimes it's like, as you said, it's like a family business, sort of say. But how would you say, like, sometimes people like to go against the grain? You know, someone has like his father, mother is a doctor, right? All the family has
Yeah.
been doctors, but sometimes, no, I don't want to be a doctor. I want to go against the grain. What were the things that you felt like, okay, you know, I still want to do this. This is, you know, grabbing me into this thing. Like, what were the feelings, or what were the aspects that like made you feel like that you want to stay in that sport for a certain time?
Like I have to say right away, my parents, they never pressured me or said that I have to do this. This was really something I felt I want to do it, and I think I developed this passion for this sport very early. And yeah, I honestly have to say, if you find your passion, it never feels like work. Like, of course, you have to do, um, like, you have to sacrifice a lot, and it is exhausting sometimes. But for me, it was until I was 24 years old. I never doubted what I'm doing. I was never thinking about what would happen if I would have chosen to study or to do a regular job or something. It was so clear for me that I'm an athlete and I have to work out and to train and to compete. I enjoyed the process. Like it was my
Right.
biggest passion ever. It never felt like hard work for me because I just enjoyed, yeah, competing and working out.
How much of all of it you were like a sports scientist, like learning more about the angles you have to take in the corners and all that, like taking care of your sled as well, and how much you got involved in that, like how much of your passion was that?
Like studying the track, of course, a lot because nobody can help you like going down the track. With taking care of the sled, that was like, for me, I wanted to do more, but my coaches, like we had, I think 16 guys, like male in our team, and I was for 5 years the only female in our team. So it was very man-based, and they they always had not the feeling. They just thought that I'm not interested of taking care of my steels. And every time I started or wanted to try to get more involved in it, they were always like, no, no, you just think about yeah, sliding and going down the track and working out. We do the work on your sled. But it got like with the years, especially the last 2 years when I was competing in my career, I was pushing a lot to be more involved in like taking care of the materials and preparing my sled on my own because I just had the feeling I know what I have under my butt. Like when I'm going down the track, I know that I prepared the sled. Never had to yeah, worry about if there was too much edge on the steels or too less. So yeah, I'm. It's a bit sad now thinking back that I just started the last 2 years. But yeah, it was a bit hard as a woman to fight against all this men.
What would you say were your biggest victories or biggest achievements or biggest lessons that you got from that sport?
Well, as a medal, it was for sure the silver medal in the World Championships 2007. And I was very young, and they took me to this competition. I was still in the junior team, and they said, yeah, she has no competition this week, so let's take her with us. Let's see how she's doing. And then in the single competition in the trainings, I was very fast, very strong. And then they let it start me in the team competition where there's one male, one female, and the doubles. And yeah, out of sudden, big surprise, we won the silver medal. And yeah, I won other medals after as well, but this is still in my mind the most beautiful experience, like winning the medal. And my biggest experience or what I'm taking out of it, yeah, as I said, I I should have stand up more for myself earlier, like not just the last 2 years, like much earlier. If I would have the chance again to do this athlete's career again, I would be more stubborn.
I want to ask you this question: if you would have the ability to time travel and like teach yourself while you were an athlete, would you go back and use that opportunity and teach yourself something from this point where
Yeah,
you are right now and go back? And to
yeah.
which point you would go and what would you do?
Yeah, as I said before, there were times that the coaches told me, no, don't think too much about the luge. Or when I said, I have this feeling, we should try this, they were always like, no, no, it doesn't work because we have this big athlete, Armin Zöckeler, and he won like everything. He won every Olympic medal. And they always said, if it's working for him, it must work for you as well. And I was like, no, I'm a different person. I'm not that heavy as he is. And I'm like ladies, they are starting from a lower position. So we have to look at different points, but they were always like, no, 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 you're just a woman, you don't understand nothing. And I would just like fight much, much more for myself and stand up. Yeah.
I think it's a very, very interesting point for many athletes when they face the point where they go away from the sport. Some athletes don't know when to do that, and they, you see in other sports as well, when they drag their careers maybe too far past their primes as well. For example, some athletes switch up, and how did you know when to leave the sport? How was that feeling, and when did you know that that was the point when to go away?
Yeah, that's a long story. Like long story short, I want to tell you the short version. Like the last 2 years when I was competing, we were always very strong in the team competition, in the team relay, and we were like always on the podium. So of course I went to Sochi 2014 with the goal to come back home with a medal. And I was facing there a lot of problems, but they were based on my sled, on the materials. And yeah, at the end we lost the medal for 1300s. We lost the bronze medal, and that just that moment when who was the last one? I think the doubles. No, the male was the last one who passed the finish line, and I was just like, it was it. I'm done with it. I don't want to compete anymore. I decided in this moment I want to stop.
I want to ask you this because this is a philosophy of me as well. Lately, actually, I felt like when I was competing very strongly in some competitions, I wanted to get the medals, for myself and individually. But now, when I look back at some of my victories and so on, I see some of my fellow athletes that I used to compete and train together with, they don't train anymore, and like I'm the last one standing. Still, sometimes that's how I feel. Do you feel like winning a team medal makes a special bond, and there's a memory you can share with many people? Would you say that winning a medal in a team event is a bit more special than in a individual event? Because you can talk about winning like as a competing as a team, and competing as a individual member.
I have to say that I learned much more team spirit when I was in the army, because at the end in the luge track I went down alone. Like our time was counting together, but at the end I had to do my performance alone. But still, sure, a team a team medal would be equal as an individual medal. Yeah.
After that, what was your journey after that? Were you at points like a bit like thrown out of the boat, and like, where am I? Like, what is up for me next? I don't need to train anymore. Like, what was the feeling then? And tell me about, like, what did you do afterwards? What was your next
Like
journey?
it is very common here in Italy, or I think in Europe, that when you're a professional athlete, that you're part of the army or of the police. As an athlete, you don't have really to serve the army. You're just like free to compete and to train. So once I stopped being an athlete, I started to serve in the army, which, yeah, it was like I was thrown in the cold water because I had no plan. Yeah, what you have to do as a soldier, and I had like a kind of high rank because I got a lot of points with the medals I won and everything. So they were expecting that I have also a lot of experience in the army. And at the beginning, it was horrible because I was just lost and I didn't know what was going on. But then I started really to enjoying, because we were climbing a lot, and we were always out in the nature. We did there also competitions against other army stations, and I really enjoyed it for the time I was in the army. But then yeah, my dad started his own business, and he asked me to come in his business and do the office work. And he said, like, yeah, you cannot do that forever in the army, this heavy work, because yeah, once you, like, maybe one day you get a child and then you're stuck in the office. And I was just like, oh my god, terrified. stuck in the office in the army. That's something I can't do. So I decided to stop in the army. I started to work with my dad, and yeah, that wasn't a good idea because office work is not for me. And I started to work part time in a gym as well, which was okay. But then, yeah, I was just running away from a lot of situations here, and I moved to Dubai, and I lived there for 2 years. Yeah.
I want to touch back to the army point because a lot of times people try to actually avoid it, are scared of it because like, it may be too tough or too hard for them. And because you said like you've crossed the finish line, you did know that I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to compete anymore. Was there a part of uncertainty, and were you a bit afraid actually to go into the army, or how was that feeling like getting into it?
Yeah, like I was sure that I want to go back to the Luge team. That was sure, but of course I was very scared to go in the army because in the army station where they sent me, that's like a very operative army station. Like they're going to Afghanistan and like they're doing tough stuff. So I was like, damn, what should I do there? But they put me in the right group. It was like the yeah athletes group, like you're just doing activities out in the forest in the mountains. So it was okay, but I was very scared and yeah, unsure at the beginning. Yeah.
Is there something that you would like to bring back from the experiences that you have had, like both in army and both in like in general in life? Like go back in time, so to say.
Like as an experience.
Yes, like to live again that moment. Like, sometimes people get nostalgic and like, oh, remember the good old days. But I actually try to say to people that, don't remember like the good old days. Look around and maybe you should appreciate what you have. And maybe this moment you have right now, one day will become the good old days. But you're now living in the good days, right? Before they're old.
Yeah.
Are they, is there any
Yeah.
point like you remember like, oh, the good old days, like before that?
If you do this really with passion, this like competing and working on yourself and finding new limits, um it's really hard that this fire erases in yourself. And I really thought I'm over it. I thought, okay, I'm gonna like work now as a personal trainer with pregnant women and in postpartum, and it's really working. Like I really enjoy what I'm doing right now. But I don't know if you noticed, I said before, like 2 weeks ago, I got an offer, and the national team of bobsled, they contacted me and they asked me like it's so unrealistic and it's maybe just a dream, but they asked me to come back and to compete with them because yeah, I have a lot of experience like driving the tracks, and all the new athletes they are getting, they still have to learn the tracks, and they think, and it happened already, that like old luge athletes become bobsledders, and yeah, they have just an advantage because they have already this knowing of all the tracks and guiding yeah, the luge or whatever. And I was just like, and they wrote at the end, and we saw that you just became a mom. Congratulations. I was like, how unrealistic is this? But I felt also the desire to do this. So I haven't decided yet. I told them, how do you imagine? How should this work with this little child? I cannot leave alone. Like I cannot leave her alone. Or she has to come with me, or I don't know. I haven't said no. I haven't said yes. I don't know what will happen. I'm sure at the right moment, the right answer will come. But as of now, I don't know. But I still feel this desire, like not just going to the Olympics. It would be really winning the medal. Like I would never go back just to the Olympics just to be part of it, even if that's the slogan, be part. Like that's very important.
Right.
I wouldn't do it for that. I would need the certainty. Yeah, I would fight for it to get the medal. Yeah. I wouldn't just do it to be part of the Olympics again. I had this experience already.
Right. You know, this will not be a question, but this will just be my opinion about this. I feel like a lot of times people do not like tap into their potential, and sometimes they like, oh, I could have done this, I could have done this, but they never do it, right? And I feel like as you said, like you describe your resume, right? Like you, and that's why they contacted you, because you have the experiences through the tracks and all that. And you, I would say, you are in a very selective group of people that, like, in the world that could be able to do that. So I think just put that in your mind when you make the decision. I don't want to persuade you one way or another, but like that could be a very exclusive story, and you may have very good memories from that. So uh, I don't want to push you one way or another. So,
No.
but I'm just I'm just expressing my opinion. I think that's a very interesting offer, and I think you're very, just few selective people can have that experience, right?
Thank you. No, I think, I'm now a different person. Like I have more I would say, like, I'm more self-convinced. As I said before, I should have stand up for myself much earlier, and I wouldn't let come it to that point where it was that many years ago. So I don't know. As I said, let's see what happens. I'm very open. I let it flow, and let's see what will happen. Yeah.
The journey that you have taken as a mom, how does it feel to be a mom for you right now? Because you put it off, that's like number one for you, right? Like, in your introduction, tell me about that. Like is that something that you feel like that has changed you as a person, and how important is that for you from the aspect of, like, changing as a person as well?
Yeah. A lot. Like, I'm talking very open about this. I got pregnant by accident, and I was in Dubai, where it is illegal to get pregnant if you're not married. So it was a very hard time for me, because that time I also wanted to move to Canada. But of course, once I figured out that I'm pregnant, I just canceled everything. I moved back. Like, I was forced to moving back to Italy. And once I accepted this, like, being pregnant, and accepted becoming a mom, a lot of things happened with myself. I changed a lot. I started loving my body because my body was growing this little miracle. And I think I'm much more like conscious about myself. I'm I'm very thankful for everything what happened. And yeah, now when you see this little girl smiling at you, and she's starting to interact with me, and she's just happy when I'm holding her, it's like, I think you cannot imagine it if you're not a parent. And as I said before, she's my priority. But if there would be a possibility that she would can like travel with me and competing, I would definitely do it.
Would you say that you're right now satisfied with the position you are in right now, or is there something that bugs you and you want to still flip a stone and see what's behind that?
Like, I felt very calm and comfortable with the ideas and plan what I'm having. Like, now still I'm in maternity, so I'm not working. Like, I'm just taking care of Elliana. But like, I'm working a lot of programs, how I want to start working with pregnant women and women after pregnancy, because I've felt like there's nobody who's gonna help these ladies in a fitness level, let's say. So there's just the doctor, and they're telling you, yeah, what happened with your baby, but at the end there's nobody who's helping you to take care of your body. In Italy, like, here it is like this. I saw that in the US it's very different, and I'm admiring them, and I made a course with some US ladies, which was very interesting. So yeah, I am posting a lot of this stuff on Instagram and on my YouTube channel. And I thought, yeah, okay, that's not my way. I'm gonna helping people because I love to help other people to find their well-being, like physically or mentally. But then, yeah, this national bottom popped up, and I'm not very sure now. Yeah, what's the right thing for me?
Your goals right now, what do you want to achieve with this mission? I would say that, as you said, you want to help other people, but like, what are your goals? Like, what is there something that you want to set? Like, I don't know, maybe numbers or things that you want to achieve. What are your goals for the future?
Yeah, I think that there are still a lot of women like they're in this old box that they still think, okay, now I got pregnant, now I can eat for two, and now I just lean back and wait that the baby's popping out of me. And it's actually not that way. It doesn't work that way, and I don't know why women think that. And I really want to try to change their mentality a bit to the like relationship to your body. And like a lot of women are also out there after pregnancy, they start to hate their body, and I also want to change it because actually your body created a miracle. Even if you have extra kilos and you don't look as you looked before, you should love your body no matter yeah, no matter what.
I want to a bit deviate from this topic as you touched like the subject of like women like sometimes hating their bodies and stuff like that. Do you think that that is a problem nowadays in the society as a global? For example, I've spoken to some females as well, and they said in my days there was no Instagram, there was no platforms, but what I heard unimaginable for young girls right now living up, and they don't even know what are the standards, what is good, what is not good, what is real, what is not real. Would you say that's a problem right now as well, and that's part of the problem? And can you touch on that subject?
My last post is about this topic, and yeah, I think like Instagram, it can be a great platform where you find accounts and they can be very helpful and motivating to change maybe your lifestyle. But then there are accounts, they are so unreal and like, yeah, this ladies, not just ladies, like everybody's just showing their best part and nobody talks like about real stuff. And of course you can lose a bit the courage, or you don't feel very well in your skin and you're asking like, is it normal to have like a little bit fat on the tummy? And yeah, you just feel so unsure. And I think it's a big um, fault from Instagram, because yeah, some people, they just show their best sides and not even just the best, even the fake and unreal sides of them. And yeah, I think it's a big problem in our society. So I find it important to talk also about the not so nicest thing, and showing pictures where you see a little bit your fat on your tummy or your cellulite, whatever. It's normal.
What do you think is the solution to better confidence in females in their own bodies? What do you think is the uh, way to like improve that?
Self-love. I think, yeah, it's self-love. I mean, if you really if you really love to watch Instagram and you see these accounts, you have to value, is this real? Is this unreal? Or is this helping me? Or is this just yeah, taking all my confidence away from me? And if it's taking your confidence away from you and it's unreal, just delete these accounts, or I don't know, pass less time on Instagram, go in the nature, or work on yourself if you really don't like your body.
Right, but when we talk about the generation coming up right now, they actually do not have a perspective of not having an Instagram, not like having a like this misunderstanding of like which is real, which is not real. How do you think like for someone that doesn't have that perspective of, like, people, I don't want to say old people, but like older people than the new generation, let's say. So those people have the, at least the understanding of like, oh, this is how it used to be, and now what I see over here is very much probably fake, right? But for people that do not know what is real, what is fake, they only have this new wave, and they do not have a different perspective of looking things at. How do you think, like, what's the solution for them, and like what could help them?
Yeah, probably more people, more real people have to post real things on Instagram, and maybe there is a possibility that we can reduce this Instagram and screen time. Let's say that you pass more like on the real time here without a phone. And I think, yeah, the real people, if they post really what they are thinking, like their real life, their real bodies, we should be like role models for them and make them understand it's be perfect.
What would you say globally, like overall in life, what is the most important thing?
Kindness.
Kindness.
Yeah,
Kindness,
I
all
think.
right.
Yeah.
Then another question for you: what do you think, throughout your experiences, through sports, through past sports career as well, what do you feel like is your greatest achievement?
In my athlete career, for sure, the silver medal when I was 16 years old. And for my life, what do you think what I'm saying now? My daughter. Yeah, yeah, she's great. Even she's just 3 months old.
Right now, if you had the opportunity to go to any time in existence, or not even existence, maybe to the future as well, and you would have the opportunity to ask one question to someone, or just maybe several questions, or have a conversation with someone, who would you pick, and what would you like to talk about or ask to that person?
That's a hard question. Um, I I don't want to talk. I just want to have a look at in the future and to see um, what what happened to my daughter, like what she's doing, what she's achieving. Yeah, but I don't know. Like I just want to have like this certainty that she's doing fine, that she's doing great, that I raised a good, kind, positive thinking person.
Right. Aren't you a bit afraid that you, by seeing that, you may like make a, like, in those time travel movies, when you change the timeline, you may change the timeline a bit? Aren't you afraid about that?
I don't know. I feel like she's a very kind kind person. Like she's smiling so much, and yeah, she's a little sunshine. I don't know. I don't have the feeling that she will make a lot of problems and trouble and be negative or something like that. But of course, it would be just. I think for me, I would. I'm not that I'm not calm, but it would be like just I would be even more relaxed if I have the certainty that she's doing very well when she is a big human.
You talk about your daughter, but for you, who has been your greatest teacher in life? Maybe it's not even a person, maybe it's been like a period of time or experience, but who would you say that is your greatest teacher or teaching moments, if not a person?
I think it was like teaching moments as an athlete that yeah, women have the same value as a man, that our opinion is not less worth, or just because we are women it doesn't mean, even if it's a technical thing, that we don't understand it. Mm. It was like I think every part of my life was very teaching, and I learned a lot of every period of my time. One of my biggest teacher, I think it was my boss from Dubai in the hotel where I worked. This was a very tough lady, and I learned from her that you can be very strict on something and do what's good for the team, and you don't have to feel bad about it. Like you can say, for example, you can like give critique to someone, but you don't have to change the relationship to this person. She was so good in this. Like she could have tell you, I don't like that you do this, but like 1 minute after, she was still the same person as before with you. Like other people, they don't know how you react, and they change a bit, and you feel okay, something is wrong now between us. But she was very tough, and I really liked her personality, and I feel still very connected to her, even if we're not talking that much. But she was a great teacher and a very kind person. She was tough.
Let's then switch roles right now. Maybe you have a question for me.
Yeah, I want to ask you this since you told me about Kobe Bryant. So
All right.
you said if you would have the possibility to meet him, what would you have asked him? What would be the biggest question for him?
Biggest question. I feel like I'm putting people on the spotlight when I give the opportunity to ask one question to someone, right? And I feel like that's, and to who, right? Like it's the feeling is like, if I pick the right person, or do I like, have the right question, that one question, that right person and that right question. That's such a big responsibility, right? And right now, for me, I have gone through it, and I always think the first question that comes in my mind, if I had that opportunity, would be how did he survive, or how did he went through all the pain and all the enduring stuff that was like upon him? How did he like got the energy to wake up early and train so much and so hard? But then I think about it, maybe that's not the key question. And then actually, that's the first question that comes in my mind. But I'm still thinking to this day, what would be in that kind of a scenario where I would have only one question. I still don't have the answer, which would be the right question to ask. Unfortunately, I will not be able to do that, but still try to learn more from other people. So yeah, build my story. As he once said in his movie, there's a power in understanding someone else's story that helps create your own. So I think maybe about his greatest teachers or something like that. So many questions. I have many questions for him, but one question, I don't know which one to pick exactly. Yeah.
I have to make an entire long question with a lot of small questions in it.
Yeah.
No, but I understand it's hard. But I was curious. Maybe, yeah.
Because it feels like a big responsibility if you have only one question, right?
Yeah, of course.
All right. Um, I want to give you the opportunity to inspiring words for everybody else, perhaps for everyone that's watching and listening. Your kind of good words for everybody.
Yeah, I don't know who's watching this video, but I feel honored that you took the time and watched this whole video to learn a bit more about myself and about AXEL. And yeah, in this, let's say, hard, strange times, Corona times, all my friends and good known people are spread all over the world. I hope to see you all again soon, and yeah, that we can meet each other.
All right. I say thank you to too for your time, for making this interview possible. And I wish you all the best in your next journey, success with that. And I think there's a big decision for you ahead, right?
Oh yeah.
So I hope you make the right decision for yourself, not for someone else. And I wish you the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Axel. You too.
Thank you for watching this video with Sandra Gasparini till the end. I really enjoyed the conversation with Sandra, and I hope you enjoyed it too. If you would like to see interviews with other athletes or inspiring people from other realms of life, please click on the list that you see on the screen right now. And if you would like me to interview other people that I haven't still interviewed, please recommend me some athletes or people from any spectrum of life that you would like me to interview. Thank you for watching and hope you enjoyed this interview, and please watch some other interviews you may enjoy.